up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. I'm Bree.
And I'm Evan.
And this is Reality Check TV. Here's where we discuss some of our favorite reality shows to watch together as a couple. So if you love reality TV like we do, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you can get notified anytime we post a new review.
Told you we'd be back.
What's going on, beautiful people? I hope you had an amazing holiday week or weekend, however long it took for you to celebrate. And if you don't celebrate the holiday, I just hope that you were able to get some rest because I know you probably had the day off. I pray that you did. But we are coming off of a very trying week. There was a lot going on with family and just a lot going on, period. So we're just happy to be here with you guys and thank you for being patient. I know that we're kind of like a day late. So I'm just glad that you guys are back and I hope you guys are safe and happy to be here. Anything you want to say?
I missed y'all. Let's get down to this. But I told y'all we'd be back.
Yes. Let's get into it.
So just in case y'all may feel that we're going off script, we're going to save Stormy, Kiki, and Tiffany's little talk for the end because as y'all know, this episode ended with Lou and Tiffany. So we're going to save that for the end. But we're going to start with the man of the hour, always, Mr. Martell Hope, who is fresh out of eye surgery with the shades on, stunning shades. So Mr. Chris Fletcher came to pay Martell a visit. Started off with small talk, how you doing? Oh, your new crib. Chris is ecstatic to get Martell out that rental so he can finally sell his house for the owner, despite Martell feels like Chris owed him a favor. But, we went into that last episode. Let's not go back to that, through that little spider web. But, this was coming. So Chris, wanted to talk to Martell about, his little altercation with his wife outside his house. In which when Martell came to bring wine over. Martell's a bit delusional. First of all, I'm going to tell y'all this personally. If I'm going to visit my homeboy, my friend, and he's not there, yes, I may have a little conversation with his girl wife, but I'm not arguing with your girl or your wife while you're not there. I'm just not going to do that. I'll be honest with y'all, Martell definitely stepped over the line with this. But he always steps over the line, but it's nothing new. But my thing is raising your voice. You have to check your mannerisms as a man when it's just you and a woman, to be honest with you. It just was not the time. Because like I said, it's just y'all two. And the thing is, you don't want to intimidate a woman. Outside of that, Martell, it was just so bad to watch because it's just one of those things where it's kind of like a code, like don't argue with another man's wife or another man's girl. First of all, you got to watch your language too. And second of all, he's not there. Like it shouldn't have even happened on Martell's side. He felt like Nell was disrespectful. I'll be honest with you. I really didn't think she was. I think she was standing her ground on her beliefs, how she felt, what she was feeling. And, Martell's going to feel anything is disrespectful when you're not on his side. How do you feel?
No, I think that you definitely hit on it. In Martell's mind, if you don't agree with him or if you hold him accountable, that's being disrespectful. So accountability equals disrespect. And I feel like a lot of men are that way. I'm just being blunt and honest. I think that even played a part with Chris and his son, which we'll get to that scene in a little bit too. But I just feel like to a lot of grown boys, accountability looks like disrespect. And I also just think that Martell's an idiot. So, like, we're not gonna, there's nothing more to say with that. I think that this is part of the problem because something as small as the beginning of their conversation with the house, right? Like Chris thanking him for leaving the house, and like them kind of like joking about it. I think something that small is also a part of the issue because it's accountability. And like you said, this whole time Martell has been moving as if Chris owes him something.
Mm.
And when Chris was holding him accountable, saying you have to leave, he really wasn't. He really wasn't holding him accountable because there was no consequence
Right.
to that. And that was about business.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a habitual line stepper or line crosser. So I think that's just part of the problem. So Martell is always going to be an issue. He's always going to have issues in his life because he is a fully grown man that doesn't understand the concept of responsibility and accountability.
Right.
And that's an issue. So that's, yeah.
I thought it was interesting too. Like I said, I looked like they were talking in the kitchen. I thought it was interesting how, you know, you can tell Chris knows his wife because he's asking, you know, was she disrespectful? Was she being passionate? You know?
I feel like Chris could have checked him a little bit more too.
I mean, of course, you know, he was soft with it. But you know, Martell started, he started off saying she was disrespectful. But I'll be honest with you, I don't feel he gave a concrete example of any disrespect she did. You know, what was disrespectful, she didn't agree with your shit.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
And you know, of course, it was, you know, Martell's hitting her with the typical, well, you gonna say something about males' infidelities? And I mean, of course, you know, you bring that up, and there's no concrete evidence of that. But you know, I thought it was interesting too on Martell. What was saying that pretty much what did he say? He said something along the lines about women need to stop disrespecting men before they get checked, to some degree, or women can't be disrespectful to men. I don't know. He said something like that to that degree. But you know,
he says the same lines over and over
pretty
again.
much.
So to be quite honest, I didn't like write it down or anything. But you know, again, my biggest issue with this scene is it's just this is just a part of the problem. Even when your homeboy is not checking you, and I think that's the part of being a good friend as well. You know, like how would you respond in this situation if you're Chris?
I mean, I can see. I felt like Chris, like, of course he wanted to say something, but I felt like he was walking on eggshells for some reason. Like he felt like it's just he could have said more. You know, it seemed like it was just oh, hey, don't be disrespectful to my wife, and that was it. That's pretty much what I got from it. But you know, Martell let him tell it anytime he has. It seems like anytime he has a camera in his face now, he says, "What about males' infidelities?"
One last thing to mention here, he did. I think Chris brought it up about the name change ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing that Martell felt like was disrespectful because they basically chose their side, and these are his words, not mine. They chose their side, meaning the Fletchers. And you know, he threw a lot of different digs, saying like, you know, yeah, I heard she changed her name to Rogers, like, you know, like they ever did anything, like, you know, just throwing digs and being disrespectful. He also just mentioned, oh, like, yeah, I just hope that she did this for the right reasons because, you know, she's like trying to like destroy my life. And I just think that the delusion, you know, the delusion that Martell lives in is also very scary. I think that it is it's not healthy for anyone, and it just continues to make me question the people that are around him because you cannot possibly be watching this show and say, "Hey, I want to be his friend." Like I just don't I just don't, or hey, I want to be his woman. Like I just
Well, you know, it goes down from everybody that you see him interact with in the show, from his enabling ass mama to enabling ass friends.
Everybody does.
So it's everybody. It's really everybody. So, you know, he's not getting told nothing different.
Right.
You know, he's creating new rumors about Mel every week.
Right.
and, shouting them out the mouth.
Right.
So there's literally nobody to correct him. So it's going to keep happening until somebody wants to say something. And,
Right.
I don't, out of all the people, I don't see nobody doing it, honestly, because his mama, like I said, boosts him up about everything he does. Um, Martell has something on Marsal, so Marsal's definitely not going to cross no lines. Chris seems hesitant to open his mouth more, standing his ground, because, like I said, not even just your wife, your job. Like, you have a house that you're supposed to be selling for our owner, and Martell been supposed to been out, and he keeps pushing the limit, and you just keep saying the same thing. I need you out, I need you out. But like you said, there's no consequence.
Yeah.
So, like I said, how's somebody gonna have a change of behavior when nobody's challenging it?
I will say, I mean, we can talk ad nauseum, which we have on this channel about my hatred for Martell, but then also just like, how he's a sexist, misogynistic, manipulative asshole. We've talked about it, right? But I think the bigger point here is that, I wouldn't want Martell's friends. Like, I want my friends to tell me when I'm wrong, to hold me accountable and show me something new. I want balance in my relationships, and I just feel like that's a sign. It just speaks a lot to who you guys are, right? We know who Martell is. It speaks a lot to who y'all are, and who Mel didn't want to be, and how she didn't want to be attached to that, let alone the abuse that she endured while being in that marriage, and the betrayal and everything that came along with that. But on top of that, it's just, he just is not a good person. And he's all for self. He doesn't see past his nose. And so I feel like, why would you want that in your life? It doesn't register with me. But to each his own. I can't tell y'all who to be friends with. So it's okay, loving marriage, Huntsville people, I guess. So the next scene that talk about don't care. And this is Tisha and Kimmy. They went and did a yoni steam, which I like, by the way. I did one last year and I like it. I need to do that again. That's what I really wrote down in my notes is, oh yeah, make a yoni steam appointment one day soon. Yeah. Anyways, but they talk, Tisha act like she fake pregnant. She take a pregnancy test for attention in this scene. Was unnecessary. Because first of all, Marceau apparently had vasectomy, and then which that sometimes that cannot take when we know that. However, it's not a thing, girl. Like, not for 1 second was I interested in this scene when I saw her with the pregnancy test. Like, I did go to the bathroom, so it is what it is. But what was the only thing I have to say to Tisha during this scene, if you didn't see it, guys, pretty much she's just talking to Kimmy about how she has a lot going on. Kimmy asked her about basically, like, Mel kind of felt like you walked out the last time we were together because you have something, you're feeling a way towards her because of what happened at that expo meeting, and you getting on her but not saying anything to anybody else when they were providing feedback. And we talked about that a while back. But Tisha ensures Kimmy that no, like, it really has nothing to do with her. I just don't want to talk about Kiki no more. Okay, got it. But then also she's just like, I have a lot going on. And she starts telling Kimmy, like, she feels like maybe I should go back to being a stay-at-home mother. I just feel like my life is unorganized, and stuff with the business, and we have these houses that we're renovating, and it's just a lot, and she's overwhelmed, yada, yada, yada. Here's my thing. Y'all know how I feel about Tisha. Tisha, what I will say is, the problem is that you are in a marriage with a man that does not support you. Not only does he not support you, he also, I feel, Like he's doing everything in his power to sabotage you when it comes to your personal successes. That's just what I feel. I feel like it's all to prove a lesson to Tisha. Going back to season 1, y'all know I love going back to the foundation, right? He was totally against this woman having any identity beyond her being his wife and the mother of his children and being at home, right? He was completely against it. Completely. And so I feel like every time she tried to step out of the home and find out who exactly Tisha is, he did everything in his power to kind of distract her or put hurdles in front of her to make it harder to prove a point. Like, see, I told you, like, you know, this is kind of where you belong. You belong here. I mean, if it wasn't him trying to cause discourse between her and Mel, because Mel represented the woman that was independent, strong, a go-getter, a career woman, all of these things that he was against and didn't want Tisha to be. And he knows that Tisha is very, it's easy to, what's the word? She's impressionable. She's very impressionable. And that she doesn't have much of a mind of her own when it comes to a lot of things. And so he knew that her hanging out with Mel, that she would find some strength, the strength that's deep down inside. If it wasn't that, then it was him literally giving away her office or desk at Scope. Like all of that. It's just all to manipulate her and to create hurdles and make it harder for her. If it's not that, it's even the kids. It's like, okay, he can't do certain things for the kids because it's supposed to be her job and she's supposed to balance that out. So he's not a supportive partner. He's not a partner, right? He's not even a supportive husband. Because I feel like there can be differences. You can have a partner, you can just have a husband, right? And what do those two things mean? And I feel like he's not supportive of you. If anything, I feel like he's praying for your downfall, which is crazy. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's like, it's sad. And I've always said that about Tisha. I mean, what do you feel? What do you think? As far as her saying that she is thinking about going back to being a stay-at-home mom?
I think strategically, Marsal, like I said, you say sabotage. You know, I think something similar around that. I feel like he's possibly trying to overload her to get her to tap out.
Yeah.
I do feel Marsal wants to be the face of their success of their businesses. So he wants Tisha to definitely be in the background somewhere. Because I believe, like I said, Tisha's the one with more of the credentials. Like I said, she got the degrees despite she don't act like it.
I don't think he wants her to be in the background, but I hear you.
I think Marsal, like I said, you know, in a couple episodes, we learned about kind of how their come up has come from the help of the Holtz. And I feel like Marsal is trying to mirror the success. And when I say mirror the success, if you look at the Holtz, you know, it was kind of, you know, it was kind of Mel that became the face of their businesses. Despite Martell was there, she was the speaker and all that stuff. It's like, I felt like Martell kind of wants to be more the to-go person when it comes to their businesses, like how Mel is. You know, of course, one of the signs where I kind of feel like this was taking a turn was, of course, when he abruptly gave her desk and her space away to some dude. I felt like that was kind of a way of him trying to symbolize pushing her out.
I mean, we're saying the same thing, but I don't think I agree or see where you're coming from when you say trying to mirror the Holtz or what used to be the Holtz, because I don't believe that he wanted that type of marriage at all. And I'm not, and of course, so besides all the cheating and stuff.
Well, can I say more? Maybe not the marriage, but I guess the success. Can I say more of that?
I mean, he wants, I think there is jealousy with Martell, if I'm being honest. I think that there was jealousy there, not in relation to his marriage to Mel, even though I feel like he wants Mel.
No, I mean,
But
that's why I thought the jealousy was because he likes Mel.
But again, not trying to mirror their relationship. I don't think that's the type of relationship he wants at all. I think that, he flat out said it in season 1 about they on some like power couple-ish. And we are not that type of thing. I feel like he's tried everything in his power to not be that. I think that he wants to be the successful one and be looked at as the businessman. Yes, I agree with you when you said that. But I don't think that has anything to do necessarily with trying to mirror exactly what the Holts were doing. Because if he was, then he would move a lot differently when it does come to business.
Or if not mirror, trying to one up.
I mean, we can. I think honestly, I think that what you're describing, I feel that way about Tisha. I don't feel that way about Marceau. I don't believe that at all. I think that there's other things, and definitely, I still stand on him being jealous of Martell from the looks and from and what it looks like physically, and then also just the charisma. I've said this before. That is one thing that Martell does have. He has the charisma. Martell just knows how to work a room to a certain extent. And when I say that, is I think what gets him into the room is the way he looks. And it was 20 times more successful when he was married to Mel, because Mel definitely knows how to work a room. And so I think that the perception was this power couple. Martell brings just as much to the table that Mel brings, and that ended up not being the case. Right. And we could see that as clear as day. And I think that's moments where Marceau would be kind of like gleeful about that. Like, so he didn't have the things that I thought that he had, or the level of access that I thought that he had, that it was really Mel. It was really this woman that had it. And he doesn't respect women. So I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I don't think that they were he in particular was trying to mirror what the Holts were doing, or who they were. What they were doing, yes, but who they were, no.
I don't know. Tisha, before they went to that little spa, wherever they went, she just went to the dollar store to get that pregnancy test to create that scene. You know, you Marcel do not be having sex. You stay on the couch. He sleeps in the bed because you're his assistant.
You don't think they have sex?
If they do, he thinks if they do, he's having sex with her, imagining it's Mel. So. Some people do that. They imagine it's somebody else they having sex with. It's kind of weird, but.
Oh gosh, gosh.
Next.
Right. Okay. Next scene we have Chris and CJ. Remember, that's Chris and Nell's youngest son. I'm calling him CJ because it makes sense in my mind. But CJ comes to see Chris in his office to talk. Chris is basically kind of like, hey, like, where you been? Like, we ain't heard from you. You haven't talked to your mother. I know your mother's been calling. Like, what's going on? Here's where I'm at with CJ. I could definitely tell that something was going on with him. At first, I was like, okay, is he high? And I mean, like, smoke too much weed, because he was very, like, you know, extremely laid back and like eyes, you know, barely open at the beginning of their conversation, and you can just kind of see like his mind is just like not here, right? But as they're talking, he's just saying like, you know, he's just been basically keeping his distance from the family. He feels like he has a lot going on as well. And he just isn't in the mood to have fingers pointed at him and to be judged. And it seems like everybody has a problem with him or an opinion about him. And so he just don't want to deal with it. And like, he's just been having a lot going on. Like he's not sleeping at night. Like he just feels like he has to always be on the go. And Chris is trying to get some more information out of him. And then the conversation takes a different turn because Chris starts to get emotional. He starts crying because he feels like what CJ is describing is depression. And Chris feels this way because he says, I've been there. I've been up late at night or not being able to sleep and just going through depression at a different phase in his life. Here's my thing, because we can make this scene real quick too. I still need a little bit more information, and I think, it's going to come over time. So for me to come to a full opinion about their kids, right? We just met them. What I have seen so far, right? I feel like he is, meaning CJ, is an example of what I just was describing about Martell, where responsibility and accountability looks like judgment. It looks like finger pointing or disrespect when you are not used to it, right? So if you're always used to someone always bailing you out, making excuses for you, not holding you accountable, not teaching you responsibility, all of these things, especially once you become an adult, because that's what I'm really talking about. When you become an adult and you're now maneuvering through the world as a grown man, and now you are in connection with other people that are adults, and they try to hold you accountable, it looks like judgment. It looks like disrespect. When that can simply not be the case, right? Because you're not used to it. You don't know what that looks like. And I'm trying really hard not to pass judgment yet, because I don't know Chris's story, CJ's story. I don't know his story. So what I also know is the whole idea or stereotype of wealthy kids or middle-class kids not going through anything because they come from money or their parents have money, I think that's just some BS at this point, because I feel like they have some of the deepest issues, especially when it comes to their parents. And I think there's a lot to unpack there. So I say all that to say it could be a number of different things. It could be, yeah, he is really suffering through depression, or it could be like this is a way to manipulate this situation, because Chris, his father, was extremely genuine in this moment. That's how it came off to me through the TV screen. And I'm willing to bet at least $10 that this isn't the first time that they've had conversations like this and Chris has gotten emotional, because I think he comes from a really genuine place and he wants the best for his children. And I could tell that he has tried to level with them now that they've been adults, and trying to rewrite any wrongs that he feels like he's done when it comes to raising them. And, sometimes I feel like it's extremely necessary, but then other times I feel like some kids take advantage of that. And I'm trying to figure out as a viewer which direction is his kids leaning towards. That's my observation, right? Like, y'all, I don't got my psychology degree yet, but I do think that there's something deeper here. So I am open to all possibilities of what it can be before I completely judge him. I'm trying to be careful with it.
Before IT, I was a licensed therapist, by the way. I had my master's and everything.
Y'all, it's not. Oh God.
So,
Okay, Evan.
How I feel what's going on is how I feel. This is something that's normal that happens to a lot of people. Oh. It's called what happens where you're too used to your parents bailing you out. Not just parents. Some people, some people are so dependent on people
Yeah.
all their lives to the point where if whoever that special person was to stop bailing you out financially or anything, you're going to be in the fetal position. You know, I don't know how old their kids are. You know, the reason I'm saying bail them out, you know, I'll be honest with you, it seems like they live a good life because the cars I heard their parents got them, you can't tell me shit. They live in a good life.
They definitely come
And
from
so it seems, from what I'm
money.
hearing, how Nail talks is Nail has done so much for them. Them being adults now, they don't know how to function without Nail bailing them out.
Right.
And they're holding on to that safety net of always getting bailed out.
Right.
You know, he went to jail. Not everybody walks around with $3,800 to spend on a damn dog.
Right.
Not everybody walk around with $6,000 to get you out of jail.
And this is the first time that Nell has is shown a little bit of consequence by keeping the dogs. Yeah.
And so, you know, it's one of those things where for him, you're mad because she's now not, you know, going with your shit. She's saying, I'm keeping your dogs. You're going to pay me back this time. Because I'm pretty sure there's so many other times she's done stuff for him and he has not paid her back or not given anything back. And this time she got tired of it. But like I said, you know, I feel bad for him. But, you know, what I'm seeing is what it's like to stop. Like, it's so hard to move without having your safety net. And that happens to a lot of people. You're so used to depending on friends, family, when they can't do something for you or times are changing. Because like I said, things change every day. People's schedules change, people's access change, people's finances change. You know, it's one of those things where when people are not able to do for you no more, you're lost as hell. You're a deer in headlights. And so, you know, when they brought up the whole, and you know, I like to be sensitive to the fact when they bring up the depression thing, I don't feel it's depression. I kind of feel he going through a wake-up call, realizing, damn, this is what the world's like without my safety nets.
I think, and that's what I mean by just it's still a little bit too early. I'm open to that possibility. I mean, I basically described that being one direction, right? But what I'm saying is also just to consider that we don't know just yet. And the fact that Chris did mention that he went through depression, and I just want a little bit more there because is this has this been passed on? Is it like a clinical mental thing?
Yeah.
I just want to be sensitive to that when speaking about things regarding mental health. And I know we're gonna get to Tiffany in a minute, but I just, you want to have space for it, and we don't know 100% yet. I am leaning more towards I just don't know how to be an adult. Well, I'm leaning towards that.
And they go with that too, you know. Of course, you know, you be sensitive to that stuff, but I've always been one of them people where I hate when people throw out certain diagnoses without being diagnosed.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Chris been diagnosed, but, you know, people have a bad week, I'm depressed. Right. Like, no, I hate when people throw that shit out. Right. Like, in order to be diagnosed with depression, right, there has to be a consistent pattern. Right. And I'm talking about consistent. I'm not talking about for weeks. It takes months to get diagnosed. Yes. So just because you have a bad month does not mean you're depressed. Right. So, you know, I'm
a stickler on that too.
Yeah. You know, yes. Yeah. So I'm just not throwing that stuff out first. Like, you gotta be tested for that stuff. Right. And for most stuff like that, honestly, depression, anxiety, all that stuff, they test longevity on that. Right.
Okay, so to wrap this up, we are going to talk about Tiffany and Lou. So the episode started off with Tiffany and Kiki having their sit down. Remember, I told y'all last week I don't care, and I still don't, right? They came to a resolution. They both realized that they prejudged each other based off of assumptions and their relationships with other people without knowing each other. That's like what? Either it was that or it was just y'all making this up because y'all both know that you guys have to prove yourself on this show. Mm-hmm. Which goes into my next point. Tiffany and Lou having the conversation at the end of the episode about, mainly it was about her postpartum, right? And I said this episodes ago. As y'all can tell, I take mental health very seriously. very, very seriously, and especially with Black women. And postpartum being a part of that. This is an example of what I mean about paying attention, and I'm talking to the ladies now, paying attention and listening to other women's experiences. I know for me, and I have no children, I have heard about the very first time that I heard about postpartum, I feel like I was like 18 and I like saw it on like a talk show or something. And ever since then, I've heard it on every show I watch. In real life, I have women that I'm related to, whether it's friends or family friends or whatever that has went through postpartum. So I just feel like as a woman of a particular age that has the resources and access to information, I do not want to accept, or do I think that it is acceptable for you to say that, no, I didn't think it would happen to me. It couldn't have happened to me. Because the tone in which she was talking about it and about her postpartum, and how before she got pregnant, how she was like, no, like, you know, I chose not to believe it because it's like, I have a business to run. I got shit to do. She was talking about it as if it's a choice to go through postpartum, or it's a choice to go through any mental health challenges. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. I want to be open-minded and listen and understand, and meet people where they're at in the moment. Because some people just don't know. But it's hard as somebody that I consider myself to be a mental health advocate. And I know that is one of the many stigmas that surround mental health issues, as if it's a choice that we choose to be depressed, that we choose to have anxiety, that we're choosing not to show up or stay up late at night and having our mind race and all of these different things, right? Like, these are all choices. And that is not the case. Postpartum is not a choice. It's extremely common. Extremely common. If you ask me, and I will say majority of women go through it. It's just levels to it. Everybody's postpartum can look different. And so I think just like denying that part of you and your experience is doing yourself a big disservice, which led us to this moment now where you're having this conversation with your husband while you're holding your baby and you're breaking down crying, saying that you don't know who Tiffany is anymore. You know, I mean, I think the best decision that you have made since we met you is getting off of this show. Because you do have a lot of work that you need to do, self-work that you have to do. And I don't believe that it needs to be in front of cameras. I just don't. I also think, I don't know how supportive Lou has been. He felt supportive in this moment during this scene. To be real with y'all, I feel like this was the realest scene that we've seen from them two since they've been on this damn show. However, I don't know if he's been fully supportive, because every time we have seen her this season, she says he's on the road. So I don't know. But postpartum isn't a choice, but it was a choice to have this baby. That was a choice. It was a choice to also be on this show. And I'm glad that she's now making different decisions. But I had to say that. I had to get that off my chest because I felt like it just hit me differently, because it did like annoy me. But also I'm trying to give grace, because, you know, you don't know what you don't know. But ladies, we have to do better as far as taking care of ourselves and, you know, listening to other women's experiences, researching and understanding things before we make certain decisions, I will say. You have anything for that?
I honestly feel Big Lou was tired of being on the show anyway.
Big facts.
Being on the road, doing baseball. Pretty much he chose a job that he knew would take him away from home for a good portion of the year.
Oh, you think he did it on purpose?
Yeah, I mean, he knew what that job entailed. Like, baseball over the show, that's what he wanted. He made the decision. So, for him, I think he was tired of the show. That's not, it's cool to be on, but I think after a couple seasons experiencing the show, I think he's like, it is what it is. When I come home, I'll film a couple times.
I think he actually hates it. I think the feeling is more passionate than that. I never felt like Lou wanted to be on this show.
With Tiffany, I feel like it's just a whole lot catching up with her. And when I say catching up with her, she thought she was going to have this baby and still live that typical life she'd been living, or that normal life, and have the same schedule. Mm-hmm. And I feel all that is crashed on her at once. Mm-hmm. And I mean, of course, outside of postpartum, but I just feel like everything's crashed when she's realizing how I thought this was going to be with baby Ace is not happening. So now I'm panicking. So that's what I saw from this scene. It looked like the world was falling on her because what she thought how life was going to be with the baby and not knowing how this was really going to be Lou's schedule and he wasn't going to be here like this. Everything's crashing at once. When it rains, it pours. So for her, it's too much rain right now.
Yeah.
And so her leaving the show, I think is the best thing. Potentially they can come back. But
well, speaking of that, Love and Marriage Huntsville, I think your days are numbered. Being honest, that's my wrap up. I really feel like your days are numbered. At this point, we have nobody left with the exception of the Fletchers that is really what I feel like giving something. Mm-hmm. All of them, I don't feel like they're being honest. I'm actually very annoyed by the show now. I think that they came out of the gate. Season 1, they came out swinging, right? Mm-hmm. And they went on this like steady incline. And it has taken an extreme dive to me. I feel, I think that about a lot of reality shows that's on right now. But this one in particular, it's like nobody's giving the honesty anymore. Nobody, including, y'all really gonna be surprised because y'all know how I feel about her, including Mel. And I love Mel. Y'all know this. That's my friend in my head. However, rightfully so, she is leaving out a big chunk of her life and who she is. And I get it. It's to protect herself. I get that. But that's even more reason why I feel like, there needs to be either a shakeup or we need to go ahead and, I think, cut it off right now before it goes even, before it takes a deeper dive to me. Like I said, the Fletchers are, I think that they are definitely bringing something different. I like where they're going with that. And so I think we need to continue to build off of that. And we need to come on and let's start to get rid of the Tishas and the Marceaus because they're really not telling the truth. And they've been able to get away with that shit for multiple seasons. So, I felt like they were trying to do that with the Stormy thing, but something else is just not landing for me. I'm looking at myself now and I'm like, the Fletcher scenes are the ones that I'm looking forward to at this point.
When it comes to the people, I definitely see that. Seems like a lot of reality shows now, can you really call it reality? Right. They're more staged. Yeah. Of course, now you got producers saying, hey, despite you don't like her, you got to go to this party with her. It's like reality's becoming a little bit of a joke. Damn, it seems like really the only reality shows are competition shows when there's money involved, if I can keep it real. But I think I noticed from this episode, did we even see Mel?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't see Mel, Maurice.
Which is fine. I don't need to see Maurice.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I'm waiting to see. We talk about it every time about how many episodes are left because we still have not seen that episode when they go on this trip.
Godly. Like,
Oh.
y'all got all these episodes like y'all doing something on these on these shows. Like why they got 400 episodes in a season?
I don't know. Like they're not gonna be back in February. But y'all be sure to let us know how y'all feel about this episode. You know, we tried to give y'all some razzle dazzle with this boring ass segment. But you know, let us know how you feel. Drop the comments below. Like I said, we're waiting for this trip, man. We need some pizzazz. Any last going part words for our guests?
Nope, I just love y'all. Thank you so much for the support. And just make sure to comment below. And make sure you're talking to each other. When we say comment, I mean, you can definitely talk to us. But, you know, we've said from the very beginning, we want to create a community here. And so, you know, talk amongst yourselves as well.
Well, y'all, it's cold in these streets. It's no longer summer. Wrap up. I mean, I don't know if y'all drink like, you know, hot chocolate or the apple cider crap. I don't know. But I don't know. Y'all stay warm somewhere. Let them go.
Bye.